The last thing Robin expected during his solo desert patrol was a half-naked, purple-skinned alien woman growling at him like he'd insulted her ancestors. Moments earlier, he'd pulled her from the wreckage of a smoking spacecraft, her body bruised, breathing ragged. She was light, feather-light, and shockingly warm. Then, in trying to lift her upright, his hand accidentally grazed the soft, white plume of her tail. She froze. He thought she was dying. She wasn't. Her eyes locked on his, gold, piercing, furious and trembling. "You touched my tail," she hissed, voice like silk over razors. The air grew still. "That is not something done lightly." Robin blinked. "It's a tail. It is my tail." Now she was upright, even though moments ago she couldn't stand. And the way she stared at him, like he'd signed a contract in blood, sent a chill down his spine. What he didn't know then was this. Touching her tail was the most sacred bonding ritual of her kind. And he just proposed. Robin had always preferred deserts to cities. Something about the silence, the simplicity, the unforgiving honesty of sand and stone. You couldn't fake it in the wild, either you survived or you didn't. That morning, he'd taken a detour from his assigned patrol route. A small reading on his scanner, electromagnetic pulses coming from beyond the permitted zone, had piqued his curiosity. Protocol said report it. Robin said investigate. He was ex-military after all. Old habits die hard. He didn't expect a ship, and definitely not an alien one. Half buried in golden dunes, the vessel hissed and crackled with dying energy. No insignia, no signs of life. The hull looked scorched, but the crash was recent, hours old at most. He approached with caution, pulse steady, boots sinking in warm sand. As he circled the ship, he saw the trail. Something had crawled from the wreckage. Bleeding, clawed. He followed it. That's when he found her. Slumped against a sandstone pillar, chest rising and falling shallowly, was a woman unlike anything he'd ever seen. Skin a smooth violet hue, armor torn in places revealing glowing lines beneath, as if her veins shimmered with stardust. Long platinum hair spilled over her shoulders, and her ears, tall, animalistic, twitched faintly. And that tail, thick, graceful, snow-white, curling protectively around her body. She was unconscious. For a moment, Robin hesitated. Then the soldier in him took over. He bent beside her. "You alive?" he asked, tapping her cheek. No response. He slid an arm beneath her knees and another behind her shoulders, trying to lift her carefully. But she jerked, and his hand brushed against the base of her tail. It was like lightning. Her eyes snapped open. Time froze. Robin barely had time to register her expression before she leapt up, clawed hand gripping his collar, fury written in every tense muscle. "You dare!" she growled. "You touched my tail?" Robin raised both hands, shocked. "I was trying to help you. You were." "That gesture, it is sacred." She cut him off, voice trembling. He looked at her tail, now bristling like a cat's. "Look, I'm sorry. I didn't mean." "You do not mean the bond, and yet you invoke it?" "The what?" "The bond of tail and heart." Robin blinked. She stared back. Silence. Then footsteps. Distant. Many. Jasmine turned her head sharply, sniffed the wind, then looked back at him. "My people come," she whispered. "For you?" he asked. "No. For us. Now that you have touched me." Robin's breath caught. He had no idea what he'd just stepped into, but one thing was clear. This wasn't just a rescue. It was the beginning of something far, far more dangerous. Robin had been through ambushes, black ops, and close encounters with orbital strikes. But nothing made him sweat like the way Jasmine stared at him while the desert wind howled between them. They were no longer alone. Dark figures emerged from the dunes, silhouettes cut against the rising heat shimmer. Tall, armored, graceful in their gait. Like her, but different. More feral. More disciplined. Jasmine's golden eyes narrowed. "They are from the clan of Kareen. Not my bloodline, but they will know what you did." He swallowed. "And what did I do, exactly?" She turned to him slowly. When a member of my kind allows someone to touch their tail, it is a vow, a claim, a sacred link that cannot be undone without ritual or death. Robin's heart pounded. Hold on. I didn't allow anything. It was an accident. You were half dead. I was helping. Intent does not matter to them, she said, cutting him off. What matters is that I did not kill you. He blinked. So, that was the other option? Jasmine's eyes twitched with what might have been amusement or sorrow. Tradition is clear. If the bond is not accepted, it must be rejected in blood. Either mine or yours. Behind them, the alien warriors began to fan out. Jasmine didn't hesitate. She grabbed his hand and pulled him into motion. We have to run. Robin didn't argue. They dashed between ancient sandstone ruins half swallowed by the desert. He followed her, ducking into narrow crevices, leaping over dunes, heart racing not just from exertion, but confusion. This was more than first contact. This was a diplomatic crisis. By the time they paused again, the sun had dipped lower. The air had cooled. Jasmine was panting, crouched in a collapsed corridor of a forgotten temple, her tail twitching. Robin sat across from her, sweat dripping down his neck. So, explain. Slowly this time. She stared at the floor for a long time before speaking. We do not bond easily. Our people, we are proud, secretive. The tail is the most intimate part of us. It is a nerve center, a memory tether, a mark of lineage. And touching it means what? Marriage? She nodded slowly. Closer than that. A life pact, a fusion of purpose and spirit. It is irreversible unless performed by the high speaker during a separation rite. And even then, the failure rate is high. Robin leaned back against the stone. So I'm basically your alien husband now. Jasmine looked at him then. Really looked. It is more spiritual than legal. But yes, the bond is now written in the energies that guide our kind. Great, he muttered, rubbing his face. Of all the times to get handsy. She tilted her head. You joke. But the bond has chosen. Robin stared at her. The alien warrior who'd nearly collapsed in his arms, whose tail he'd brushed by accident, was now bound to him by a ritual older than any human civilization. You don't even know me, he said quietly. I know your scent now. I know the warmth of your blood. I know the way you looked at me not with fear, but with fire. That is more than many mates begin with. Robin was speechless. A moment passed, then another. Finally, Jasmine stood. We must move again. They will not give up. Not until you are claimed or dead. So what are we doing? He asked. Running forever? No, she said, eyes fierce. We're going to the one place where they won't dare follow. Which is? She turned, her tail swaying with power and grace. Earth's cities. Robin frowned. You want to go into my world? You touched my tail, Robin. That makes you mine now. And I protect what is mine. There was no teasing in her voice. No sarcasm. Just raw, undeniable truth. Robin followed her into the growing night, wondering just how deep this accidental bond would go, and what parts of himself he might lose or find because of it. The city swallowed them like a living beast, neon veins, metal bones, and crowds that never slept. Robin led her through the alleyways of New Vega, a lawless border zone where alien tech met human chaos and no one asked questions. It was the only place he knew where even an exotic woman with glowing skin and ears like satellite dishes wouldn't draw too much attention. Still, she stood out. Her posture was regal, her eyes sharp. Even cloaked in a repurposed trench coat and hood, Jasmine moved like a huntress in enemy territory. Her tail, now hidden beneath layers, twitched with unease every time a skimmer buzzed overhead. You trust this place? She asked. No, Robin replied. But I trust that nobody here gives a damn who you are as long as you don't owe them money. She didn't respond, but her fingers brushed against his as they walked. A spark passed between them. Robin wasn't sure if it was the bond or something deeper, creeping in under his skin. They stayed in an underground hostel run by a blind ex-medic who owed Robin a favor. Concrete walls, one cot, No questions. Jasmine stood for hours by the window slit, watching the lights move like distant stars. Robin sat on the edge of the bed, unwrapping stolen protein bars. You know, he said, chewing slowly, I've had weird weeks before, but accidentally bonding with a space princess might take the cake. She didn't smile. Instead, she whispered, They will come for us again soon. Robin nodded. I figured. I don't want them to hurt you. That caught him off guard. You barely know me. I know you could have left me in the sand. You didn't. That's more truth than most I've known. Robin looked at her. He wanted to say something. Something human and simple like, You're welcome, or, I'd do it again. But the way she looked at him, it wasn't a thank you she needed. It was something deeper. The next few days passed in stolen moments and near misses. Jasmine adapted quickly, too quickly, Robin thought. She understood city maps within an hour, picked up phrases from overheard conversations, even reprogrammed a stolen comtab to speak her tongue and his at once. She was smart, sharp, dangerous, but vulnerable too. Once, when thunder cracked over the city, she crouched instinctively, ears flat. He reached out, hesitated, then placed a hand on her shoulder. She didn't flinch, not even when his fingers moved, gently, toward the base of her tail, where the fur met the spine in that sacred place. She turned to him slowly, her breath shallow. You do not fear the bond, she said. I don't understand it, he replied. But I'm not running from it either. Jasmine watched him for a long moment. Then her voice softened. Where I come from, it's believed that when two souls meet across stars, it's not by chance. It's a calling, a prophecy made long before breath. He smiled faintly. That sounds a little poetic. It's truth, she said. Before he could answer, the wall exploded. Flashes of blue light tore through concrete. Jasmine reacted instantly, vaulting across the room, dragging Robin down behind a half-shattered cabinet. The invaders wore obsidian armor with silver etchings. Karine elites. Jasmine didn't hesitate. She burst from cover with a cry that cracked like thunder, her hands glowing with raw kinetic force. Robin watched her fight. Fluid, fierce, furious. But he saw something else too. Desperation. Not for herself. For him. He grabbed a stolen plasma blaster and ducked into the fray. They fought side by side, instinctively in sync. She leaped, he covered. He flanked, she slammed. But even with their rhythm, they were outnumbered. Then came the voice. A deep, vibrating tone through a translator box. Surrender the human. The bond is false. Unapproved. Robin glanced at Jasmine. False. Her face was pale. They believe our bond is illegal. That I've polluted my lineage. Have you? He asked, chest heaving. She met his gaze. No. I've honored it. Something shifted inside him then. He stood tall, exposed, between Jasmine and the invaders. You want me? He shouted. Come and take me. They moved. But so did Jasmine. A final surge of energy, drawn not from strength, but from the bond itself, erupted from her. Light filled the room. The Karine were thrown back as if by a divine pulse. When the dust settled, only Robin and Jasmine remained standing. Their hands found each other, not out of panic, but out of choice. She was trembling. Robin, she whispered. They'll keep coming. My people won't stop until this is broken or fulfilled. He nodded slowly. Then we stop running. The world was quiet when they arrived at the temple. It stood hidden beneath the sands, carved into the bones of an ancient canyon. This was no human place. The symbols etched into the stone pulsed faintly, reacting to Jasmine's presence as if recognizing a daughter long lost. Robin followed behind her, heart pounding. Not from fear, but from knowing this was the end of their running. The entrance opened on its own. Inside, the chamber glowed with soft light. Floating orbs lit the walls, revealing murals of tales intertwined with stars, of warriors bowing before beings whose eyes burned with golden fire. Jasmine knelt in the center of the floor, head bowed, tail unfurled like a banner behind her. "This is where the High Speaker resides," she said. "If anyone can interpret our bond, it is her." Robin looked around. "And if she says it's false? She'll separate us," Jasmine whispered. "And that process, it could kill one of us." He crouched beside her. "But if she says it's true?" Jasmine turned to him. "Then I am yours, and you are mine, forever. Not by accident, but by fate." He stared into her eyes. The thought should have terrified him. Didn't. Moments later, a presence entered. Not through a door, but through light. A tall, translucent figure appeared. The High Speaker. Neither young nor old. Neither male nor female. They moved with gravity, like space itself bent slightly to honor them. Their voice echoed in both their minds, smooth and calm. "Two souls have tangled. A bond has been invoked." Robin stood but said nothing. He wasn't sure if words were even allowed. The tale is not a symbol. It is a memory, a root. When touched by another, a thread is formed. Not always intentional, but always real. Jasmine stepped forward. "He did not know, but I did not resist. You accepted him. I did. Then let the bond speak." The chamber grew brighter. The High Speaker gestured, and the floor beneath them changed. Symbols flared. The mural walls shimmered as if awakening from sleep. Suddenly, Robin felt everything. He felt Jasmine's loneliness in the stars. He saw her memories, her first battle, her last kiss. The moment she realized her people saw emotion as weakness. He felt her pride, her grief, her hope, and she felt his. The nights he spent staring at the sky, wondering if he'd ever matter. The ache of losing comrades in war. The guilt of surviving. His humor, his shield against emptiness. His bravery, his way of showing love without ever saying it. When the visions faded, they were still holding hands. The High Speaker floated closer. "The bond is true." Jasmine exhaled sharply, tears rising unbidden. But the voice continued. "Yet it was formed outside the rites of tradition. Her bloodline will not accept this union unless it is claimed before the council. You must return, or be hunted forever." Robin blinked. "Then we face them." The High Speaker inclined their head. "So be it." The council sat beneath an obsidian dome, surrounded by armed guards and ancient laws carved in crystal. Jasmine stood tall, her cloak cast aside, her armor reforged. Robin stood beside her, wrapped in ceremonial robes given to him by the speaker. They didn't bow. "Not this time." "You shamed your blood," one elder hissed. "You let an outsider mark you." "I honored the bond," Jasmine replied. "And I stand by it." Another elder leaned forward. "You would tie our future to a human?" Robin stepped forward now. "She didn't choose me because I'm human. She chose me because I didn't treat her like she was alien. Just someone who needed help." Silence followed. One of the guards moved his hand toward his blade. Then another. Then came a single word from Jasmine. "Enough." Her voice was steady. "Royal, I will not ask your blessing. I came to face your judgment, yes, but not to beg for it. The bond has already chosen. Whether you kill me for it or exile me, I remain proud." Robin turned to her, jaw tight. "If they come at you, they come at me too." The elders whispered among themselves. Then the oldest one stood, her face carved with time. "We cannot deny the bond," she said. "We feel it. The path is sealed. But the price must be high." Jasmine bowed her head slightly. "Name it." The elder looked at Robin. "He will live among us for one cycle, learn our ways. And you, Jasmine, will renounce your claim to the throne." A gasp rippled through the chamber. But she didn't hesitate. "Done." Robin turned. "Wait, what? You're giving up everything?" She smiled faintly. "No, I'm choosing everything that matters." That night, under the twin moons of the desert world, where her people had retreated, Jasmine and Robin sat on a stone balcony overlooking the stars. The bond still pulsed between them, not just through her tail, now curled gently around his arm, but through shared silence, mutual sacrifice, and something rare in any species. Understanding. Robin leaned back. You still think it was fate? Jasmine chuckled. You touched my tail, Robin. By accident. And yet, here we are. He smiled. Yeah, here we are. She rested her head on his shoulder, tail coiling tighter. And the stars, ancient and watching, said nothing, because they already knew how the story would end.